And that shot is going to be blocked. Tried to get it in, but unable to.
This is something we're not used to seeing, is Clemson being in the offensive zone this much.
Yes.
This is a pleasant surprise.
One good thing for the Tigers, though, they enter that power play 4-0 in the shot column, and now they've brought it to within 1, 4-3.
Well, we're used to seeing the other team double us in shots. So, again, another pleasant surprise we got from this Tigers team.
And there is some physicality there fighting for that puck, and looks like these teams might be taking some notes after that Gladiator Swamp Rabbits game, which was very physical with a scrum after the game ended. So very, very interesting matchup there. Very physical. We've got a stoppage here, and we'll see if the physicality carries over into this game. We remember back to the first matchup between these two teams. That one was also very physical. Now, granted, Clemson, we've noted, they play very physical defense, very physical style of play. But that game got very physical, got chippy at some points. And that shot is going to be picked up, saved, and held on to by the goalie down there for Georgia Tech. So we'll see if that carries over into this game. As we mentioned, Clemson really, really needing to desperately get into the win column tonight. They're fresh off of an 0-3 road trip last weekend. So Clemson needing a win, huge in this game.
Yeah, they desperately need to get back in the win column. Only one win on the season. And that's something Isaiah Jackson said before the game. He said, it is a must-win. We need to get back in the win column. And that playing in the big arena, the guys will be hyped up. He's interested to see if they can keep the energy for all 60 minutes. So that's definitely a question. They had the energy for the first 10 minutes of this period. Yeah,
which you were talking to Jake Badger before the game as well, and Badger said to you, what is it he said? He said they will get the dub tonight.
He is, I don't want to say he's guaranteeing, because that's a dangerous word, but he's looking to get the win tonight. We'll just say that.
Yes, and Badger with a save, so he's helping the cause. Badger also said something else.
I can't say it
Don't
on
want
air.
to jinx
Don't want to
it.
jinx it.
Okay.
I don't want to put him on the spot
I'll
either.
just say this. Maybe a 0 somewhere, and we'll leave it at that. So we'll see if the Tigers can hold on to this goose egg in a very particular stat line as they reset and they bring it forward from their own end of the ice. It appears to be 22 Thomas Carroll bringing it forward, and he's knocked to the ground, but picked up by another Tiger. That appeared to be Dutt. However, Georgia Tech will get the puck back and lose it falling to the ground. We've got a stoppage. Let's see what this is all about.
It's going to be a tripping. It's just
all right.
Need to see who it's going to be on.
And it's going to be on the Tigers, it seems. That is number 22, Thomas Carroll, going into the penalty box, the sophomore for the Tigers.
Yeah, that's unfortunate.
Tigers.
Like Clemson had all the momentum right there.
Yeah.
Staying in their offensive zone. So let's see if we can successfully kill this off.
Well, Georgia Tech successfully killed the first penalty of this game earlier. Now the Tigers go on the penalty kill themselves. So let's see if the Tigers can successfully withstand 2 minutes of a barrage, and immediately it's a goal. So Georgia Tech takes immediate advantage of this opportunity, finds the open space in the net, and puts it in. That did not take long.
I'm speechless right now. I cannot even believe
6 seconds.
We give up a power play goal to this team. We know how dangerous they are. That's so frustrating.
6 seconds into the power play, and Georgia Tech takes immediate advantage.
Exactly why I didn't want to say Badger was getting the shutout, because
Badger
no longer.
Badger wanted the shutout tonight. Unfortunately, no shutout, but it's still very early.
It's hard to get a shutout when your team is putting you on the penalty kill this early in the game.
Yes, just under 9 minutes left, 8:50 right now in this first period. So still plenty of hockey left to be played tonight. So it's just one goal, plenty of time. According to Christian, that goal is coming from number 13, Kevin Sheridan. So the man who put himself in the penalty box earlier makes up for it.
Yep. Unbelievable. That's what you want from a player that causes a penalty. You want him to come back out and score a goal for you, make up for it. So that's exactly what Sheridan did. The aerospace engineering major, as we pointed out earlier.
Yes, he found a way to get that puck up in the air and find a way to land it in the net.
I'm done with you already.
Oh, Matt, you had to know what you signed up for. You can't escape the puns, my man. I bring him hard and I bring him strong. Georgia Tech trying to do something for it, but this man runs into the brick wall of defense that is Nick Baltus. Appeared that to be, no, that was number 24, excuse me. I only saw the 4.
That's Aiden Evans,
Aiden
who's
Evans.
switched his number tonight.
Yeah, so making use of that new number. Tigers now trying to get something going here. And unable to get that shot in. Looked like it deflected before it could get to the net. And might have gone up top corner, but the goalie are able to make a good save. And that's going to get sent forward. Number 8 on the assist, passing it over. Another opportunity there. Georgia Tech not able to get it in. Badger standing his ground.
Yep.
So Jake Badger coming up big that time. That's going to get sent into the neutral zone. So Georgia Tech now resetting. And that pass is going to get tipped by the Tigers, so they'll send it forward. And it looks like we'll get some, well, they were looking for some line changes, but we've got a stoppage here, so it might be an icing perhaps.
Looks that way. They're going to send it back to the Tigers' defensive zone.
So that'll be an icing. 7:02 left in this first period of play. Georgia Tech leads in the shot column 7-5, so good news for the Tigers. It's a lot closer there, but bad news for the Tigers. They're also losing in the score column, which matters the most.
Yeah, they're also this is a different team from 3 minutes ago. They were an unbelievable team in the first 10 minutes, completely controlling the pace of this game. And now it's been flipped on its head the last 4 minutes with the goal and then just staying in their defensive zone. It's something you don't want to do considering you only have 3 defensemen and then Alex Schreiber coming back to defense tonight. So,
yeah, and we don't know how long it's been since he last legitimately played
Yep.
the defensive position. So a little bit of a transition, I'm sure, for him trying to get back to the comfort level that he needs for that position. So unfortunate circumstances here for the Tigers, who have seemingly been playing down in the defensive numbers all season long, and they've been doing about as well as they could, but definitely the effects are being seen of those lack of numbers. However, the Tigers with an opportunity, but Dutt unable to get the shot into the net there. So good save by the goaltender down there. That appears to be, number 1, Rudnicki. Caleb Rudnicki for Georgia Tech. So different goaltender than we saw last game. And Matt, how much of a difference could that make?
It's the same mentality, pucks on net. This ice is so huge. I still can't even believe it, how big this ice is compared to what we usually play at the coolest place in town, the Pavilion,
yes,
as you love to call it. But,
And that is a goal for Georgia Tech, one of the strangest bounces I think I've seen in any of these hockey games.
Are they? I'm confused as to why the goalie. Here we go. The refs are going to talk to see if it got kicked in.
So
it looked like that was a soccer play, a set piece from the corner.
yeah, that was interesting. So the puck.
It looks like they're going to count it.
Looked like it was a pass that just happened to bounce up in the air and found its way over Badger's shoulder into the net. So very weird and unfortunate turn of events there. That is going to be a goal, though, for number 9, Matthew Connolly. The assist coming from number 11, Ben Lublin. So, again, unfortunate circumstances for the Tigers, but that puck finds its way into the net, and Georgia Tech extends their lead to 2. Matt, what the heck happened there?
From what I can tell, if you viewers want to go look at it on the YouTube live stream, you can rewind it a little bit. It looks like it got kicked in. We need to focus on the gameplay at hand, but he was driving to the net, and it looks like he did a little kick move with his skate. But, the refs counted it. Can't go back in time. Can't beat a dead horse.
And no video review here.
That's right.
In club college hockey.
So, props to the guy who scored. He did what he could with what he had. So 2-0 Georgia Tech. The Tigers need to get out of this defensive zone if they're going to have any shot to get back in this game with only 3 defensemen.
The Tigers need to get back to the style of play we saw in the second period of last game.
Yep.
Because that was a very fast pace. They were very offensive in that style of play, and that's when we saw them really do the most damage within that game.
Other than the second period, but they gave up 2 quick goals in the third.
That's
and
true.
then they dominated, came back, and forced overtime. So this was a totally different team the second and third period of last game. They're kind of in the same situation they were the first time they played this team. Remember me saying that we had to score first, and then they scored first. So, again, it's kind of similar story here. I just hope it doesn't take till the second and third period to get this team going.
Well, that's going to get sent all the way back down to the Tigers' end. Georgia Tech pressing forward, though, trying to win the race. It's going to bounce around a little bit. But Clemson will be the team to pull it out, sending it forward, but Georgia Tech will pick it up. So Georgia Tech now with the puck, but Clemson trying to play defense and pushed up against the board. So Clemson being physical, down in the defensive numbers, and that's actually going to bounce over into the stands. So fan with the souvenir puck down there.
Yeah, that kid with the souvenir puck, good for him. Come out and support the team and stays after the Swamp Rapids game, and he gets a souvenir puck from the club hockey game.
Yeah, that's why you stick around. You
That's
get
right.
a free puck.
The second battle of the night for I-85.
Yeah, so Georgia looking to restake their claim in this I-85 battle. Tigers trying to keep it in the upstate of South Carolina here. Georgia Tech doing their part. We've got a wide open man, but he's unable to get it in. Badger standing his ground after he's unable to hold complete control of the puck. And now Clemson with an opportunity is going to get forward, but Georgia Tech is going to win that race. And we've got a stoppage.
That was a late whistle for icing, but I think the refs are going to talk about it here.
Yeah, the refs huddling together, all 4 of them. So, we will be resetting at center ice.
Yep.
3.5 minutes left in this first period. The Tigers find themselves trailing the Yellow Jackets 2-0 and trying to get something going, just trying to get any kind of momentum they can heading into the second period here. And another whistle, blowing it dead. So here we go, resetting yet again. More fresh legs coming onto the ice for both teams. 3:18 in this first period. Clemson still trails 2-0 and 10-7 in the shot column. So one important thing to note, though, I think it's important to keep harping on this, is the Tigers, 2 of them now on the ground, but the Tigers keeping it close in the shot column for once tonight.
Yeah, but again, I would like to look at time on attack because Georgia Tech has probably now doubled us in that column.
That's true.
1 and 2. Something to point out before this game is that Georgia Tech coming off a loss for only the second time this season. The last time we played them, I think they just came off a 12-1 victory.
They were coming off back-to-back drubbings of Alabama Huntsville.
So, I mean, I know we're playing mad because we lost to these guys in overtime after scoring 2 goals to force overtime. But we don't really know the mentality of this Georgia Tech team coming off a loss. We talked to the coach before last game, and he said he kind of lets the Georgia Tech guys govern themselves, which is definitely different, especially when you're talking about college kids.
That's the kind of situation that can really work in your favor, but at the same time can also bite you in the butt very, very quickly.
Yep. And so far, I mean, they're 7-2 on the season. It's worked in their favor. It also, I think it forces the guys to have to mature a little bit and, get closer. So the chemistry for this Georgia Tech team clearly is a good one considering they're 7-2. And, again, their coach kind of lets them do their thing and do the locker room talks after the game and stuff like that. So
Clemson physical, pushing the man into the boards there. And now that's number 24, not 16, Aiden Evans, who is bringing it forward. He's got the puck back again here, fighting for it. Georgia Tech, and he's able to get the man on the ground, but now 2-on-1 and the numbers advantage working for the Yellow Jackets. But that's going to bounce over to a Tiger player. The shot, and it's not going to make it. Blocked away by a defender. So the Tigers doing everything they can, a minute and a half now left, just trying to get something going, some momentum heading into this second period as the shot numbers are starting to trail back. The disparity is starting to grow a little bit, 12-8 now. Score still 2-0. And that shot by McKeon not able to find its mark. It's going to get deflected immediately, but McKeon still with the puck here. Another shot, another deflection by Georgia Tech defense. And once again, it's McKeon with the puck. The pass to Jack Owen Turner. That one went over to number 26. That was Cheser. But this puck's going to get sent all the way back, and it's forcing the Tigers to reset. And actually now it finds its way into Georgia Tech's stick hands. The shots, though, go wide, and then Badger comes up with the save. So Georgia Tech's able to put a couple of shots on there, but Badger once again able to come up big with the save. So 48.5 left here in period one. And that puck's going to be bouncing around. Badger doing everything he can, couldn't gain control, but knocks it away. And the rebound shot is not going to go in either. So Georgia Tech had a little bit of an opportunity, couldn't capitalize.
Yeah, they're dominating the offensive side of the puck here. Plenty of chances. Again, they're beating the Tigers in shot count. Not quite doubling like they did the last game, but nonetheless, the score's 2-0. And they're playing well.
Yeah, so Clemson now with the puck. 12 seconds left, just trying to get one last attack, but that puck's going to go awry. And it appears these final seconds will be ticking off with very little action happening. And 2-1. There it is, folks. So the first period of action here has concluded. Clemson, nothing in the score column. Georgia Tech's able to find 2, however. So the Tigers starting's very slow, down in the defensive numbers. Georgia Tech taking full advantage of these opportunities, and they're able to find the back of the net twice.
We need to stay out of penalty trouble. But Georgia Tech, their power play is obviously really good. We saw that in the last game. We've seen that several times this season just looking at their numbers. Yeah. They know how to move guys. They know how to get guys in front of the net, deflect goals. So we'll see. We'll see what the Tigers can do. But Georgia Tech, obviously, clearly on the scoreboard and on paper and on the ice is the better team this first period. We'll see what Coach Matt Loughran has to say to the team during intermission.
Yeah, so Georgia Tech dominating this first period of play, like I said, leading currently 2-0, but the Tigers still have 2 periods of play to try and come back. 40 minutes of hockey left to play, which is a lot. And as we've seen, a lot can happen in just a very little bit amount of time. So we'll see how the Tigers rebound in the second period. The second period is when they stepped it up last time. So could be much of the same here tonight. We will be back here shortly for the second period of play.
Yeah.
Yeah, just let us know when we're good. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for tuning back in. We are here live at Bonza Cruz Arena in Greenville, South Carolina, where the Tigers are taking on the Georgia Tech Yellow Jackets, and we're about ready for the second period of play. The teams are back out there on the ice getting their warm-ups in, and the Yellow Jackets currently lead 2-0 after a commanding first period on their part. Tigers couldn't really get much going. One of the key points of this game, the Tigers being down in the defensive numbers, and that's come up big time in favor for the Yellow Jackets here today.
Yeah, it was weird. They started the first period. Unfortunately, you guys couldn't see it at home, but they started the first period really well, trying to create chances. But our Pierre McGuire down on the ice, Christian Brady, his points were player of the first period was McKeon, trying to create chances, but sloppy outbreaks and just not quite getting the chances they were hoping for with this big ice. So
yeah,
we'll see. We had a comment, Old Town Antiques on the YouTube, saying that the second goal kicked in or didn't. It wasn't a distinct kicking motion, so the goal should have counted. So thanks for the comment out there.
Appreciate that.
Looking out. So unfortunate last 11 minutes for the Tigers, but.
Yes. So we talked earlier about how the Tigers are now coming off of an 0-3 road trip, losing one game to Georgia, 2 against Auburn, both by a 5-4 final score. So really weird but unfortunate circumstances there for the Tigers. They only have still the one win on the year, that overtime, amazing overtime victory against Charlotte. So the Tigers in desperate need of a W here tonight. Matt, as we enter this second period with the Tigers down, what did they need to do to get that W here tonight?
Well, they need to not play in their defensive zone the entire period. They need to – technical difficulties. Are you good?
Yeah.
All right. They need to not live in their defensive zone. They need to have cleaner outlook passes. They need to put pucks on net. What?
Yeah, so second period now underway, and an immediate shot from Georgia Tech blocked and saved by Jake Badger. So now fighting for possession back there behind. Oh, and 14 had an opportunity to shoot, but completely swings and a miss. Strike one.
I know you love your baseball, Wyatt.
I do love my baseball, and that was a perfect opportunity for the reference. You know I love my references as well. Georgia Tech, though, still with that puck trying to move it forward. They're still on the attack. It felt like they were on the attack for a good 75% of that first period, and they start here on the attack, and that pass comes across through the crease. Another opportunity if they could have connected, but unfortunately for them, they do not connect. So Georgia Tech starting off very fast here, getting shots, pucks on net like you love to see.
Yep.
But unfortunately for them, unable to connect. Another pass across the crease, 2 players down there on the ice falling to the ground. So Georgia Tech pedal to the metal here so far to start this period.
Yeah, they're starting the way they ended. They're establishing dominance in their offensive zone. They're just using the ice they have. Again, I keep pointing out how massive this ice is compared to what we're used to at the Pavilion, and they're working with it well. So we'll see. I wanted the Tigers not to live in their defensive zone, but that's pretty much what we've seen for the first minute and a half. Let's see if they can create some open space to get cleaner passes and cleaner opportunities at the net.
Yes, there's plenty of ice out there, like you mentioned. Much larger rink than what we're used to and what they're used to at the Pavilion in Taylor, South Carolina, the coolest place in town. This being a special game for the Tigers, as that shot is going to be on but not going to be able to put it in. So special game here following up the Swamp Rabbits at Bon Secours, and Georgia Tech bringing this one back forward. That shot is going to be caught, saved by Jake Badger. So 2 minutes of play here, almost 2 minutes of play completed here in the second period. So Clemson unable to get much going. They went on the attack there for just a little bit, but again, it's been feeling like much of the same so far. First period dominated by Georgia Tech, and Georgia Tech in these 2 minutes dominating the second period.
Yeah, Badger's going to have to be the best player on the ice for the next 37-odd minutes. I mean, he typically plays very well, so we expect nothing less from him, nothing different than his usual great play. But
and that shot's going to be over the net, so it looks like it was deflected.
With only 3 defensemen, Alex Schreiber moving back to defenseman, so 3 natural defensemen and a forward playing back. They gotta somehow create chances in the offensive zone and take some pressure off the limited defense they got tonight.
Yeah, and the freshness of the legs is another thing to keep in mind, too. I would think they'd want to try to keep the line changes consistent and
Yep.
constantly moving here, because you don't want these guys getting tired when you are down in numbers.
Yeah, they want frequent line changes, especially with how big this ice is. They're going to get wore out definitely quicker per shift. So shorter shifts, quicker line changes, and, yeah, we'll see how it works out.
Well, Vanderleest is bringing that puck up the ice, but unable to get anything going with it. Georgia Tech now back on the attack themselves, but he's got 2 men ahead of him. So defense coming up for the Tigers there, unable to let him do anything, and they will get possession of the puck back. Once again, Vanderleest bringing it forward. That pass is going to be up and not able to connect with his fellow Tiger. So Georgia Tech reclaims possession, and the Tigers' offense once again stifled. So the puck bouncing around there a little bit. Georgia Tech with possession. It's going to bounce to the Tigers and get sent right back to a Yellow Jacket. So the team's just trading this puck back and forth here a little bit. This is going to go back behind the net, and that's Nick Baltus who's going to pick it up for the Tigers. Georgia Tech resetting, getting some fresh legs out there on the ice on the line change. And Baltus still bringing it forward. The defender bringing it forward here. Back around, going around the world, but unable to get it in the net. A couple of shots there, but unable to put it in. That's Rudnicki for the Yellow Jackets in goal, and he's standing his ground down there. So the few times he's been needed for the Yellow Jackets, he's looked good.
He's come up big, yeah. He's clearly been one of the best players on the ice tonight, other than the 2 goal scorers. So we need we kind of need a different pace from this Tigers team. They need to figure out 2-on-0 for the Georgia Tech.
And like you mentioned, 2 on the goalie, and the 2 will win the numbers advantage. Strikes again for Georgia Tech. That's a goal for them, so that will extend their lead to 3-0. We'll wait for the confirmation from Christian as to who put that puck into the back of the net, but once again, the numbers advantage paying huge dividends for the Yellow Jackets. Jake Badger doing about as everything he can, but Georgia Tech finds the open spot. That goal came from number 17. Again, I apologize if I butcher your name, Mr. Brzezowski, but that came from Michael Brzezowski, and the assist, number 21, Kale Kernich. Again, sorry if I butchered that. We didn't get pronunciation guides for these names. But the Tigers, that looked like it might have been a pass as opposed to a shot, but still had the potential to bounce in off of the deflection, and they don't get it in. But a little bit of offense there from the Tigers. We like to see that.
They're kind of on that goal. They kind of left Badger on an island. So, but again, we can't stress this enough. They're playing shorthanded on defense the entire night. So they just got to stay strict on themselves, staying in position, and hopefully not give up odd man rushes like we saw there.
Yeah, and when you've got the numbers advantage like that, when you're a good team like Georgia Tech, good teams are going to take advantage of that more often than not.
Yep.
And, again, Badger put into a very tough situation that not many people are going to succeed in. And Badger saving that one and unable to save the second. So Georgia Tech will pick up the rebound after the first save, and Badger smashes his stick over the top crossbar on the top of the goal there in frustration. 2 early goals, and like you said, I don't blame him there. I'd be pretty frustrated too. He made the first save initially. It goes off of his chest, but it bounces back to a Georgia Tech player. Pass or 2 later, and they're able to slot it into the goal there for another. That one coming from number 9. So Connolly getting his second goal of the night, and that assist, another man getting his name into the points column with an assist. Number 12, Ty Yoakum. So Connolly picking up goal number 2, and Matt, it's been all Georgia Tech so far. What do the Tigers need to do?
Well, they need to play like they have nothing to lose, because they don't. They're down 4 goals, not even halfway through the second period. Looks like Coach Matt Loughran called a timeout to kind of reset the game plan for the Tigers here. Let's hope they can get a different message. And, I don't know, come out firing on all cylinders after this timeout. Again, I do not blame Badger 1 minute for breaking his stick there. The frustration
It's been a frustrating season for the Tigers. They are 1-6, correct, on the season thus far. 1-6, like we've mentioned a few times already in this broadcast. 0-3 on the road trip between Georgia and Alabama last weekend.
Auburn.
Well, it's in Alabama.
Yeah.
I'm saying state names here.
Yeah. But they had 2-goal leads in both the Auburn games. So.
Right, and you say this a lot. Two-goal lead is one of the most dangerous in hockey.
Yep, it's the most dangerous lead to have in hockey. But you got to find a way late to hold the leads. Let's hope Georgia Tech can does kind of take some I don't even want to say it, but they don't. The Tigers need to do something here. That's all I'm trying to say.
Yes,
trying to find my words, but they need to score quickly and get on the score sheet and
And it looks like a 2-on-1 here. Baltus puts the defense on, and Georgia Tech unable to connect and put that one in the net, so they don't take advantage of the numbers game on that one. Now Clemson pushing forward themselves, but Georgia Tech playing hard, stifling defense. Vanderleest puts that on from the side, unable to connect. It's going to go awry. Another pass in behind the net. Defense tangles him up, and Georgia Tech will pick the puck back up. They are moving it forward. 3-on-2 right now. Tigers trying to catch up and even things up, and they will knock that puck away and pick up possession. Vanderleest now bringing it forward.
3-on-2 for Clemson here.
Having the reset to avoid an offside. Vanderleest sending it forward. The shot from all the way in the neutral zone across the blue line is going to be caught, saved by Rudnicki there. And now Georgia Tech with an opportunity. That pass is going to see sent back, knocked away by Butterfield. So good job of blocking that passing lane by Andrew Butterfield. Now the Tigers reclaiming possession of this puck, but Georgia Tech playing good defense once again. And it seems like every time the Tigers get something going, something goes wrong as Badger makes that save, and it bounces off, almost getting an opportunity to Georgia Tech there, but he covers it back up immediately. But what I was saying was it seems like every time the Tigers seem to be getting something going offensively, you think that maybe they've got it going, something seems to go wrong immediately.
Yeah, that's more we should give credit more to Georgia Tech just playing really good defense, but it's easy to play defense when you're up 4 goals because you don't have to push people up. You can just keep people back. So they're doing a really good job of just staying in position. I know you want to point out something.
Yes, I do want to point out something. Big news here. Number 23, Eva Eriksson, is now on the ice for the Georgia Tech Yellow Jackets. If you remember back to our pregame show of the last time these two teams met, we talked about Eva Eriksson being the only female on any of the teams we've gone up against this season that we've, to our knowledge, one of the only females playing in male club hockey right now. And this is huge. We talked to their head coach. She's really just another part of the team. There's nothing they really don't treat her any differently. They just look at her as another hockey player. And they talk about he talked about how high her hockey IQ was. Her positioning was really good. And we now get a chance to see her in action. She did not dress up. They said she wasn't dressing up for every game this year, limited playing time, but she didn't dress up last time. She's here tonight on the ice. I really wanted to point this out because I've been super excited to see her play.
Yeah, it's awesome to hear that when we talk to the Georgia Tech coach that she has the best positioning on their entire defense.
Which is huge.
Which is awesome.
Yes. And that's how she makes up for her size disadvantage.
Yep, size disadvantage, and
that shot from up close directly into Badger's glove, so he'll eat that one up. But back to what you were saying.
The size difference, and then also the Georgia Tech coach was pointing out that her long passes aren't as quick as the college boys that she's playing against. But, again, they just look at her as another teammate. It's not any fuss or anything like that, which is awesome to see. It's great for women in this sport, and I know we're probably making a bigger deal out of it than it is, but it's awesome to see, and I think it's definitely worth pointing out.
Yes, it's one of those things. She's now back on the bench, so short stint here on the ice, but she got ice time. Hopefully she'll get back out there again soon. We can call her name a little bit more, but it's always great that we're seeing something like this. And to your point, I think it's important to make a big deal out of it now.
Yep.
Hopefully we can get to the point where in the future it's no longer a big deal.
Yep.
But for right now, her being the only woman on either team, and to our knowledge, one of the only women, potentially the only woman
in this conference,
in this entire conference of club hockey here. So she's blazing a trail, and to our knowledge, she's playing very well, which is fantastic. So it's exciting to see her blazing a trail, setting a path in motion, and opening some doors for other female hockey players to potentially get them some ice time as well.
Yeah, apparently she was the first female in school history, I guess, to play on the club hockey team. So, again, it's just awesome to see. It's awesome for the sport. And, again, like the coach said, when we interviewed him about it, we're making a bigger deal out of it than it is because they all just see her as another teammate. So
for them, it's normal for her to be around.
Yep.
And we got to see her on the ice. Hopefully we'll get to see her again as the Tigers now will pick up this puck. That is our captain, Isaiah Jackson, sending it forward. And unable to connect with Butterfield on that long pass across the ice. But the Tigers will pick up that rebound as Georgia Tech tried to send it away. But unable to get clear possession of that puck. So forced to reset, bringing it all the way back to their own end here. Forced to bring it around. And Carroll doing this all himself and trying to pass it to a guy in the crease, but unable to connect. As Georgia Tech, once again, playing very good defense there. So the Georgia Tech defense has been coming up big time. And the Tigers have not been getting many opportunities. They've been on defense themselves a lot, and the few opportunities they've gotten, Georgia Tech has been able to snuff them out relatively quickly and with seemingly not that much effort.
Yeah, we're I mean, again, if you look at the benches for the teams when it goes across the neutral zone, they have a couple more guys and gals on their team. Fresher legs. So, and they're kind of, I don't know what kind of rink they got down there in Atlanta, but I'm assuming it's bigger than the Pavilion's ice. So they might be used to this kind of rink.
Which, to your point of more players, I did just do a quick head count. And assuming I didn't skip over someone, because I know it's tight down there in the benches, so I may have if somebody's hiding behind someone else. But I counted 14 total players for Georgia Tech, 10 for Clemson.
Okay.
So a 4-player difference, each team with the one goalie on the bench, so 9 to 13 in terms of skaters. But still a 4-player disparity there, which may not seem like much, but can be big. As Clemson got an opportunity there, shot on the net, but good save there by Rudnicki. So once again, he's coming up big.
Clemson's playing, while we were going off on our side segment, as I would call it, Clemson's been playing a different style than they have played earlier in the game. More chances in the offensive zone, not quite giving up as many odd man rushes, but score remains the same.
Yeah, and Eriksson back out there on the ice for the Yellow Jackets as the Tigers come out with the puck here on this faceoff. So they will be bringing it forward on the attack, but that pass will go off the boards to a Georgia Tech player, and that pass for Georgia Tech will miss its mark and go straight to a Clemson player. That pass will go off the boards to the Georgia Tech goalie. So Eriksson bringing that puck from back behind her own net, and two players, Georgia Tech and Tiger, running into each other. And the Tigers now trying to send this forward on the attack. So neither team really able to gain a clear full possession of this puck right now. It's just being traded back and forth. Again, more players knocking themselves onto the ground here. We've got a stoppage. Could this be a penalty?
I don't know. It looks like the ref's going to the it looks like it's going to be hooking. On Clemson.
And that appears to be number 27. Yes, number 27, Andrew Butterfield on the hook. We've got the confirmation from our man in the box, Mr. Christian Brady. So Tigers once again will find themselves backs against the wall in a numbers disadvantage.
Well, as we pointed out in the intermission report, Georgia Tech's a very good team on the power play, and being down 4 goals is definitely something you don't want to have to deal with.
Yes.
So hopefully we can kill this off and get back to 5-on-5 and hopefully take a little bit of momentum here with 7 minutes left to play.
And Georgia Tech with the shot there, unable to make its mark, but and the power play has been something that's really plagued, or the penalty kill rather, has been something that's plagued Clemson all season long, as Badger's going to eat that one up as, once again, we see a player for each team on the ice, on the ground beside one another. So these teams continuing to play physical, especially on this power play and / penalty kill opportunity. But as I was saying, the power play / penalty kill is something that's really plagued the Tigers all season long.
Yeah, the Tigers are it seems like they're always in penalty
And
trouble.
an opportunity there. I don't mean to cut you off, but an opportunity. And that one actually goes in. So Georgia Tech had an opportunity. They missed a wide open spot in the net, and then they find a way to get it in off of the rebound. So how the conversation has quickly changed.
Well, that's exactly what I was saying, is that it seems like the narrative is Clemson's in penalty trouble, and then it seems like the other team usually capitalizes. We saw in the Georgia game, our only win on the season, it seems like most of those goals were power play goals. And then again, against this Georgia Tech team, when we played them last time, we gave up penalties. They seemed to capitalize on every power play we gave them. So being down now 5-0, we have to stay out of the box if we have any chance of getting back into this game.
And we've got the confirmation that goal came from number 14, Andrew Bonner. And the assist, once again, Brzezowski, number 17. So he's got a goal and an assist now in this game. So we're seeing more and more Yellow Jackets finding their way onto the score sheet and into the points column here tonight. And to your point, 5-0, a huge disparity. 7 minutes now, just under, left in this second period. So only 27 minutes of game time left, full stop. And that may not seem like a lot, but we've seen Georgia Tech put up 5. So the mentality for Clemson kind of has to be, if they can do it, so can we, right?
Yeah. Again, we took this team, or not trying to show too much bias, but these teams went to overtime last time they played. So we know that the talent level is at least in the same ballpark, right?
You would theorize after that one game.
Yeah, if Georgia Tech can put up 5, so can Clemson. But again, with this time dwindling, 26 minutes seems like a lot, but 5 goals is a big margin to come back from. They're going to have to start putting pucks on net more than they have, being down 25-5 in the shot column.
For this to be a realistic comeback for the Tigers, how many goals do they need to score in these 6 minutes?
I would say probably 2.
2?
Yep.
All right, so that's a goal per 3 minutes for the Tigers going off of Matt's marker here. So we've got a stoppage in play as teams will reset, and we will see what can happen here off of this face-off. This is going to be down in the Tigers' end. So Badger once again finds himself back against the wall, back against the net, and the Tigers will actually win the face-off, but Georgia Tech will wind up with possession of the puck. And they try to send it across, and it fails. That long shot also blocked.
3-on-2.
And now 3-on-2 for the Tigers here.
Georgia Tech is doing a really a good job at poke checking. Their poke checks are on point tonight.
Yes, and now a potential 2-on-1. Now Clemson will even those numbers, but that shot tries to go 5-hole. Badger eats it up and will save it. So just under 5 minutes left, 5.5 minutes, left here in the second period. 5-0 disparity in the score column, 26-15 in the shots as well. So once again, the Tigers finding themselves down big time in the shot margin. Badger, we talked about how much of a brick wall he's been all season, but the analogy I like to put up with this is if you beat a brick wall enough, it's going to crack. It's going to break.
Yeah.
And we've seen the majority of the goals Badger give up. Not really his fault. You could say the same for a lot of the goals here tonight.
I would like to add to that if you put up cover in front of a brick wall, it kind of blankets the blow a little bit.
Yeah.
Whereas if you just give a brick wall, if you just have open shots at a brick wall and it's hunting season, then it's going to break more. The number of odd man rushes that we've seen Badger have to face tonight, again, I don't I don't blame him for getting upset earlier. It's tough to be a goalie and be left on an island, but it's not necessarily the defense's fault because they're so tired. They're only playing with 4 defensemen, 3 true defensemen and a forward.
Yeah, and the injuries playing into this big time. The Tigers just unable to get much going. They've seemingly, like we mentioned, been down in the defensive numbers all season long. Tonight, It's been the worst of them all in that regard. And we've got a penalty on the Tigers as Georgia Tech, Rudnicki for Georgia Tech was rushing to the bench area to give the Yellow Jackets an extra skater. And we'll have to wait and see who this – oh, no. Looked like there might have been confusion on their end because it's actually on number 14, Andrew Bonner, the goal scorer. That's a slash.
That's interesting. I don't know if I've ever seen that a team that the delayed penalty is on pulls their goalie. Because imagine if Clemson gets the puck there and they don't blow the whistle dead. There's a wide open net.
So – maybe they thought that the penalty was going to be called on Clemson.
They clearly did if they pull their goalie. So,
but either way, that
Clemson's got to score. This is a must score here. Yeah,
that penalty is on Georgia Tech. Clemson now with a huge opportunity. That shot wide, but Clemson now 2 minutes of power play action here, and Isaiah Jackson with the puck in the neutral zone resetting. But like you said, this is kind of a must score for the Tigers because this 5-goal deficit, they really need to get some kind of momentum going here at the end of this period.
Yep.
They have a perfect opportunity now on this power play after the slash, and Badger's going to lay this off behind the net, so the Tigers resetting, and they will try to go coast to coast here. That's Vanderleest bringing it forward, and it's going to get knocked away, picked up, and Georgia Tech now one man to beat. It's the goalie, and shorthanded goal for the Yellow Jackets, so that puck gets dumped off for the Yellow Jackets, 1-on-1 man versus goalie, and the skater wins 6-0 now for the Yellow Jackets. That's 11 unassisted. Ben Lublin getting him a goal to match his earlier assist. Matt, what just happened?
Confusion on the outbreak. The key to the number one step for a power play is you got to have a clean entry into the zone, and obviously, they couldn't even get it into their zone because there was confusion. Someone lost the puck. Again, Georgia Tech doing a really good job of poke checking tonight, and here we go again.
I'm asking Christian if he's got some insight into what's happening so far in this game. I'm curious to hear his thoughts from down there. He's on ice level, so we'll have to. We'll see what he says.
Speechless at this point.
He's going to have a different perspective than we are. We're up here. We're looking down on the action. He's on ice level. He's been in the box with a couple of these guys so far, so we'll see what he's got to say. But the Tigers try to move it forward out of the neutral zone, and Georgia Tech once again stealing possession. So, again, every time the Tigers seemingly have some kind of opportunity, even with this power play, getting a gift, unable to do anything with it. And Christian just sent back one word: brutal.
Yep. 100% agree.
Leaving Badger out to dry, he also just said that.
Well, and that's what I've been saying, is that Badger's been on an island because of the odd man rushes. It's hard when you – I hate to keep beating a dead horse, but it's hard when you only have 3 defensemen when you're supposed to have 6.
Right, and we all know the famous video, Honey Badger don't care, but the Badger down there cares a lot.
Yeah.
And unfortunately for him, he's been placed in some very tough, very unfortunate situations that are very difficult for any goalie at any level to deal with.
Yep.
I mean, you see it even at the NHL. These odd man rushes plague teams, and that's how guys get goals. That's how goalies, no matter how good they are, give up goals.
I mean, this game could easily be 12-0 if it weren't for Badger. So, it's.
And once again, another opportunity for Georgia Tech that they will take advantage of. The puck bouncing around, Badger going to one end, leaving one half of the net wide open. Georgia Tech gets it, perfect opportunity, and they're able to put it in and find that hole. So 7-0 now, 2 minutes left here in the second period. Another unfortunate circumstance here for the Tigers.
I remember when shots were 21-15, and now shots are 31-15. 10 straight shots, 7 straight goals. This is absolutely brutal. I'm gonna repeat the one word from Christian. This is the Tigers just they need to find some life. They need to find some inspiration. And I know it's easier said than done being down 7, but
Yes, we've got the
this
confirmation. That goal was number 14, Bonner, once again. So he's sitting at 2 now. And Sheridan, another man to get both a goal and assist in this game. Our first goal scorer for the night, and he is now the latest assister. So Georgia Tech, we've got a stoppage of play here, but 7-0, just under a minute and a half left to play. And this game has just been absolutely different in every way possible from the first time these two teams met.
Yep.
We look back on that first meeting, and it was a very close, very good game. And, we never necessarily expected it to kind of go that way, but the Tigers played a very good, hard-fought game, came up just short in overtime, but they took this team to the brink.
I mean, even going down 2 goals in that game, you kind of had the sense that Clemson was going to.
And another goal. Clemson had an opportunity there. That pass that they had was picked up by Georgia Tech. Once again, we see a pass intercepted and taken by Georgia Tech, and they find a way to put it into the back of the net. 8-0 now for the Yellow Jackets. This has been a 6-goal period.
This is unbelievable.
So in this,
I just don't have any words.
This is further proving the conversation we were literally just having, and that's actually the hat trick for Connolly. Matthew Connolly picking up the hat trick. That was his 3rd goal of the night. And the assist coming from 21 Kernich, whichever one it is. Again, apologies if I'm getting this wrong. But this, going back to what we were saying, because it still just continues the point, like a completely different game. This has just been complete and utter Georgia Tech domination in every sense of the word and every sense of the game.
Yep.
And
shots are now 35-15. I just want to throw that out there.
A 20-shot disparity in 41.1 seconds left in this period. So I know I, for one, would love to be a fly on the wall down there to hear what Coach Loughran is going to say to his team after this period. And
I have a feeling that the seniors on this team will do the talking for him.
Perchance, yes. We know Isaiah Jackson has unrivaled passion and intensity as the captain and president of this team.
Yep.
And whenever we talk to him, you more so after a loss, his frustration is always evident and visible.
I think he hates losing more than he likes winning, and that's a championship mentality. It's just really tough to see when a avalanche like this happens. It's more like, we got a tripping. It's more like quicksand. It's like the harder you try, the more you can't do anything right. These Clemson players are just dying to get to have something go right, but 8 goals. I think 3 of them are shorthanded. That's unbelievable.
Yeah, and that tripping is going to be called on number 12, Ty Yoakum. So the Tigers now an opportunity here. 15 seconds, not much time to do something with it in this period, but they will start with about a minute 45 of power play in the next period, as that's going to be sent down. So yes, but the Tigers a power play opportunity. Don't think that too much can come out of it thus far, but these final seconds ticking away. The Tigers a gift, an opportunity, and we will have to see if they can take advantage of it and make the most of it. But just an absolute landslide of a second period. One of those periods for the Tigers where basically Murphy's Law. Anything that can go wrong did. And just as Christian put it, brutal.
I can't even speak right now. This is unbelievable. I don't even think they got a shot on goal the last 15 minutes of this period. Utter domination.
Like you mentioned, there was one point where the shot disparity was 21-15.
Yep.
And now we finished this period at 36-15.
Yep.
So we're used to Clemson being more than double, or used to being roughly double than the shots, but
I'm not used to Clemson giving up countless odd man rushes. Badger is completely on his own island tonight.
yes, so we will break this down a little bit more here shortly, but the teams have gone off into the locker rooms, and once again, I'd love to be a fly on the wall and hear what Matt Loughran, or more importantly, to your note earlier,
I think
what Isaiah Jackson and some of the rest of the seniors will be saying in this period, in this intermission, excuse me. So we will, while the team sits, we will sit, and we will be right back for a intermission report.
Try to
right
find
after
the
this.
words to give to
Yes.
you guys. Speechless.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Bon Secours Arena in Greenville, South Carolina. And no, that's not a typo up there. The score is still 8-0 in favor of the Georgia Tech Yellow Jackets. If you're just tuning in, let's just fill you in right now. First period, 2-0 in favor of Georgia Tech, which pretty standard. Everything's fine. Pretty rough. Georgia Tech did dominate that period, but there's still plenty of time left.
Yep.
In the 20 minutes that were played after that in the second period, Georgia Tech put up 6 goals. Matthew Connolly for them, number 9, finished off a hat trick.
Yep.
So he's now got a hat trick. I'm having trouble finding words because there are very few words for what has transpired here tonight.
Don't look at me because I'm speechless as well.
Yes.
Unbelievable. We're going to pan to the ice now, but the mentality has to be this is 0-0 game. Just find a way to just put the puck in the back of the net.
You got to do something.
They're starting the period on a power play, so let's hope they can capitalize on that. But, I mean, giving up, 17 straight shots?
Basically.
Is you just can't have that.
It's brutal.
So.
The Tigers, like you mentioned, as the initial faceoff is won by Georgia Tech. But, yeah, the Tigers start off on a minute 45-ish of power play action. That's one silver lining for them. That's number 12 for Georgia Tech, Ty Yoakum, who finds himself sitting down there in timeout. But, yeah, like to your point, it does feel like the Tigers, this is a tremendous mountain to try to climb. But when you start climbing a mountain, it starts with one step. And if the Tigers can just take advantage of this power play, put a puck in the back of the net, take that first step, who knows what can happen. There's 19 and a half minutes left to play in this game. A lot can happen in 19 and a half minutes of hockey.
Yeah. Again, it just starts with taking the small steps, like you said, one step at a time. It's 0-0 game. That's just the mentality they need to have. They need to come out like the game just started, 0-0, and let's put some pucks in the back of the net and see where we end with 19 minutes left in this period.
And that pass is going to go across the crease, not connecting with anybody. So it's bouncing around now. Team's trying to claim possession of the puck, and now we're nearing about 30-ish seconds left here in this power play for the Tigers as Georgia Tech will clear it out.
I do want to give Badger some credit, though, that 36 shots he faced. If he wasn't playing as well as he is, it would probably be 15-0. Am I off on that?
I cannot immediately argue with that.
Okay.
I can't really disagree because he's He's been playing probably about as well as one can when faced up against 36 shots, and a significant amount of the goals too coming off of odd man rushes. And that actually reminds me of a point our man in the box, Christian Brady, noted during that intermission. He sent us a comment. I want to read it out to you all now. He said, "Weak side D is carelessly jumping up, and it's leading to so many odd man rushes. All 3 forwards are jumping down low and with no guy to back check."
Yep. He's straight out of Mass, so he knows his hockey and he knows his strategy, and he's one of the best. So love having him on the hockey show. Yep.
And there's a goal. Perfectly set up by Georgia Tech, bringing it. You have a man on each side, taking full advantage of this bigger rink, this extra ice space that they have.
What do you know? Odd man rush.
Odd man rush. They pull the defense and Badger to the one side where the puck is. Perfect pass across, finds his man, and puts it into the open part of the net.
Yep. Well, I'll just continue on my praise for Christian. He knows his stuff, so I'm. That's expert analysis, and that's exactly, it's crazy. Like, he's a psychic. That's exactly what happened there, leading to the odd man rush. So, and another goal for Georgia Tech while you're writing your notes there.
Another goal. I am making note, literally right now, of the man who just scored. And actually, that was number 3 Michael Markwart on the first goal, assisted by Brzezowski. And I was double-checking because I knew he scored in the last game. I just wanted to confirm how many. And it was he did score their first goal in that period, so in that game. But that was quick. So now it's a 10-0 deficit for the Tigers. And that's Markwart again, actually, on that goal that just occurred. So Markwart now.
But it was on the same shift. He didn't even get off the bench, or he didn't even go to the bench. He stayed on the ice. That's how quick it was. Shots are now, it says 38-15, but that was before the last goal. So, and now it looks like Luka's going to come on the ice.
So we will have a goalie change, and we kind of talked a little bit about that in the intermission. I was wondering if Gianluca Di Giovanni, or as Luka as he is called, would start in net. They went with Badger to start, and now after these 2 goals, to your point, that will be number 30 now. Gianluca Di Giovanni heading into the net for the Tigers, presumably to finish off these last 17-ish minutes of the game. And Badger's frustration, very evident. We saw him smash a stick, break it over the crossbar of the net earlier. And, you know, we can't really blame him. He's been put up into some very difficult situations. And sure, when you give up 10 goals, you're not going to be perfect. Some of those are going to be on you. And at that same time, however, we've talked a lot about how a lot of the goals Badger's given up this season have not been his fault. And the same can be said tonight.
Yep. It seems like the narrative continues that Badger is not necessarily all season left on an island. This game, it's very evident. I mean, before he goes off the ice facing 38 shots in 25 minutes, that's definitely the narrative we've seen all season. Clemson getting doubled in shots, and I'm frustrated for him.
Yes.
And I didn't have 10 goals in the back of my net. So.
No, and I wasn't facing 38 shots either. So, and again, like, 10 goals is obviously awful performance, but at the same time, when you take it into the context of 38 shots, and would you say I'm fair to assume that at least half of these goals are on odd man rushes?
More than half.
So there's only so much you could do with that. It's like I mentioned earlier, even in the NHL, at the premier level of hockey in the world, the best goalkeepers in the world, they struggle with odd man rushes because of a numbers advantage.
Yep.
There's only so much you can do with it. And we mentioned that this is not indicative of who Badger is as a player. This is not indicative of his talent level as a goalkeeper. It's just very unfortunate circumstances that he's just unfortunately unable to deal with in this particular game.
Yeah, it's, again, I just feel like he was left on an island tonight. Don't blame him for getting frustrated again. I'm frustrated for him. But it's so tough because, to my point earlier, it would probably be 15-16 to nothing if it wasn't for Badger playing well saving 28 out of the 38 shots he faced.
Yeah, and I think one thing that we're losing in the shuffle of all of this, as we're talking about the calamity of a game that this is and how awful this is for Clemson, I think one thing that is getting shuffled out here and that we should talk about some is how great of a team Georgia Tech really is. And I think what we saw in the last game, maybe Georgia Tech took Clemson a little lightly. Maybe Clemson came out with a much better mindset in that game. Not sure. Maybe it was a little bit of both. Not sure the particular circumstances that led into a 4-3 overtime thriller that we saw in that. But this game being so different, so lopsided, I think it in a lot of ways it's also a lot more indicative of just how great of a team Georgia Tech is. We're seeing tonight what this team's truly capable of and how well they're playing. Their defense has been a brick wall. They've snuffed out pretty much any offensive opportunity that the Tigers have gotten tonight. Their offense has just found the perfect passes. They've taken advantage of every opportunity. They've really taken advantage of the defensive miscues of the Clemson Tigers tonight, and they've played essentially the perfect game.
Yeah, well, there's some factors that have changed from the first game. Ice size, the amount of players Clemson had out, not being with like their defensive captain Pieknik, who likes to level people. That's kind of what he's known for. But what I'm trying to say is that the factors have changed for Clemson, but the one thing that remains the same for Georgia Tech is just how good they are.
Yeah.
And it seems like they set up their goals, their chances, their power play, their outbreak passes. It looks like they make it look so easy. So again, the mentality needs to be it's a 0-0 game.
Yeah.
They have a power play, and just try to find a way to put pucks in the back of the net with 14 odd minutes left.
Yeah, so while we were talking about all of this, like you mentioned, they power play. There was a penalty that just occurred. Number 27, interference. Matthew Jones for the Yellow Jackets. And we saw Luka rushing off of the ice there.
Yep.
So another penalty
5-on-3
here. Number 4 that appears going into the box. That's Garrett Schuler for the Yellow Jackets. We'll wait on the infraction confirmation. But a 5-on-3 now for the next minute 45. It was a high stick. So high stick penalty there. Minute 45, a 5-on-3 action. So if there ever were a perfect opportunity for the Tigers to get some momentum and find a way to try to climb back into this game somehow, this is it.
I don't want to say this game's over. We've seen crazier things.
And, that almost bounces into the bottom corner of the net there, putting the puck on the net like you always love to see.
Yep.
The Tigers almost take advantage of this opportunity.
We've seen crazier things in hockey, but I just think this is a must-score for the mentality of the team. Just show that this team is not invincible, and just get one in the back of the net and help the psyche a little bit for this team.
McKeon!
There it is.
Goal! So McKeon helps the Tigers take full advantage. They were putting you talk a lot about putting pucks on the net. The Tigers were doing just that on this power play, and that's a lot easier to do when it's 5-on-3. But they take full advantage of the opportunity, puck after puck on the net, and it's John McKeon, number 11 for the Tigers, who finds the way to put the puck in the net. Matt, what did we see?
We saw Clemson taking advantage of the open space they have with the 5-on-3 and passing it around, getting good looks, and McKeon just putting the puck in the back of the net. I like it because after the end of the first period, Christian texted us that McKeon was kind of his player of the first period, and it looks like he's still doing that right now. He's still playing his game, and good for him. He's been playing his heart out tonight, so I think if anyone deserves it tonight to score a goal, it's McKeon.
And to build off of that, Christian, to your point, literally just texted, McKeon rewarded for being one of the only bright spots for the Tigers tonight. And also want to add in one assist on that goal, number 18, Jacob Vanderleest. So we called his name a lot, too. I think if McKeon's been the number 1 performer for the Tigers, I'd say Vanderleest is probably number 2.
Yep.
His name's been called a lot in this game tonight. He's been out there working his butt off as well. So it's nice to see those two connecting on that goal there for the Tigers. So the Tigers cutting the deficit to 9. One step down, 9 more to go in the comeback. So the Tigers, trying to stay positive here, not giving up. I think it's safe to say they maybe came out a little defeated at the beginning of this period. Who could blame them? But this goal, you get something going, and all it takes is a little bit of a spark, and who knows? We've seen crazier thing happens. This game certainly feels like it's out of hand, and I'd have to say that realistically speaking, a comeback of this magnitude is very unlikely. But like you said, anything can happen.
Yeah, that's what I was saying is that we've seen crazier things, but it's good. It's good for the mentality of this team that they can finally get one in the back of the net after all 19 previous shots were either blocked or saved. So.
Yeah. And at the very least, even if you aren't able to pull on a comeback, it's still a pride factor. You don't want to lay down and die. You want to at least go down fighting, go down putting your best effort forward. And if you could put up another 2, 3, 4 goals and maybe not necessarily make it a game, but at least get something, you can use that as your silver lining and as some momentum heading into your next contest.
Yeah, exactly. My thoughts exactly is that if they can score like 2 or 3 to end this game. Clearly, it's still a blowout loss, but you can show that third period we can put up 3 goals. Know what you have to do against this team is not give up more than 3 or 4, right?
Right.
And then, it's like you said, it's a silver lining. It's kind of a glass half full is that, yeah, we gave up 10 tonight, but we can still put up 3 or 4 goals in a short span and know what we need to do next time. So,
yes,
but great minds think alike. I agree 100% with Christian is that McKeon definitely rewarded for being the bright spot, one of the hardest working players on the ice tonight, regardless of the score.
Which McKeon, that's been a theme for him all season. He's always been one of the workhorses for the Tigers on offense and on defense. We've seen him come up big. He was actually in that Charlotte game, the one who came up, I believe, with the big dive block in overtime. So
another goal.
While we talking about that, I was looking at you, Matt, talking about John McKeon and gushing over him as Matthew Connolly puts in his 4th goal of the night. So I think it's safe to say he's the player of the game tonight.
Yep.
But that assist came from number 24. That is Jared Abrahamian, if I said that correctly. Again, I apologize if I butchered your name. But the Tigers, they get that goal and now find themselves back in another immediate 10-goal deficit. Georgia Tech, again, as like I said earlier, it seems like anytime the Tigers get something going, Georgia Tech is able to snuff it out. And even when the Tigers put a goal up, immediately Georgia Tech counters with one of their own. We talk about the Tigers getting doubled up in shots. It's 40-21 in the shot counter now as well. So, it's been a calamitous game for the Tigers, full stop. And there's, fighting for possession down there behind the net of Georgia Tech. And Georgia Tech moving it forward, trying to add on to their big lead, trying to see how much they can get.
Georgia Tech playing this game like it's still 0-0.
Yeah, and this is a team that's not afraid to put up a lot of goals, and they're very capable of it. As a matter of fact, I think their high total this season is 12 or 14. So this is a 10-minute left in this game, an opportunity for them to try and set a new season high. As a matter of fact, we can maybe double-check that. But
I think their season high is 14.
I want to say 14.
Yep.
I think that's the number. It's either 12 or 14, and then 14 I think is the number. But Clemson now with an opportunity here. Thomas Carroll putting that puck on the net, but picked up and stopped by Rudnicki there of Georgia Tech. So, it is 14, the largest margin of victory by the Yellow Jackets this season, 14-0 against Lynn in their season opener. So they're high 14. They need 3 more to tie that. 10 minutes That's enough for them to potentially do it.
Yep.
So we'll see if that happens. And, hey, can't blame them. Keep playing hard. Don't want to get complacent and get rusty. Keep your reps up as Georgia Tech now picking up possession of this puck, trying to move it forward out of their own end. And that pass is not going to connect. There's a race for it, and it's going to get in the ensuing rush for it. It's going to get knocked over into the stands. So we stop, we reset, and we'll have a face-off. Get some fresh legs on the ice. The teams appear to be switching out. And Clemson will win the face-off. That puck will get sent forward. That's, again, Carroll moving it forward, trying to create something here. Passed back, unable to connect, but it's going to go right back to him. Sent back to another Tiger. That would be Stapleton there. But Georgia Tech will reclaim possession of the puck once again. Their defense comes up big yet another time in this game. And that's, again, one of the themes of this game. Georgia Tech's defense coming up huge and not giving Clemson room to breathe or much of an opportunity to really do anything at all.
This Georgia Tech defense has been suffocating all night. But we know how to score on them.
And that was
we've done it before.
That was very violent. There is two players when Georgia Tech, when Clemson spin around with one another, and that looked like McKeon maybe, one of the Clemson players going almost face first into the boards. Didn't mean to cut you off there, but I wanted to shout that out.
You're good. That's action we need to point out. Yeah, I mean, the effort is still there. So, again, maybe we can try to find a silver lining and put a couple more pucks in the back of the net and kind of fix the morality on the team here going into next weekend.
As Georgia Tech's fighting, trying to put that puck in the net, and looked like Clemson sending it through DiGiovanni's legs, but across the ice, and no puck into a net there. And this is going to find its way all the way down at the end of the ice. Georgia Tech fighting for it, not quite able to claim full possession of it. And Clemson now with a shot and a save, or, well, I don't think that would have gone in, but it's scooped up by Rudnicki anyway, and he will hold it in his glove, so we'll reset, get a face-off here to about 7:55, just under 8 minutes left in this game. So, again, 11-1, 42-22 in the shots. And, again, it's hard to find words in a game like this when one team is just absolutely dominating the other.
Yep.
But it's one of those games where Georgia Tech's done basically everything right, and Clemson has done pretty much everything wrong.
Yeah, and it's not even the fact of, like, they've done everything wrong. It's just it's like nothing is going their way.
Yeah.
But it's not like it's luck. It's that this Georgia Tech team is really good, as we can see from their previous games. They're 7-2, and 2 losses coming from Auburn and Georgia, both teams that beat Clemson last weekend. So.
And we saw there a factor of the speed, as Eva Eriksson was playing good tight defense, and the Clemson player was able to just win the foot race.
Yep.
But she's playing good tight defense, as was mentioned to us before. Her positioning is really good.
Her positioning and her hockey IQ make up for the other traits.
So that pass by Georgia Tech is going to get sent straight into a Clemson player. And now that's Nick Baltus moving it forward for the Tigers, trying to get something going. Dutt sending it forward, and that appeared to be Vanderleest diving to the ground, trying to put that into the net, but nothing was going there. So that's sent forward by the Tigers straight to Georgia Tech, and that Georgia Tech pass that was sent forward straight to Michael Dutt of the Tigers. So dumped off for another Tiger, tried to pass it forward, bouncing around between the two teams, and it's the Georgia Tech Yellow Jackets who will claim possession of that puck as it's passed over, not connecting, and Vanderleest now with possession. But tight defense by Georgia Tech, still tight defense, and they try to put it in, but DiGiovanni is able to knock it away. So Georgia Tech, tight defense, still putting pucks on the net here this late into a very high-scoring game with a huge lead That save is going to cause another face-off here. So just under 6 minutes to play, and once again, Georgia Tech still dominating in this game. Clemson still unable to find any life, and to be fair, I wouldn't blame them if some of the players have checked out a little bit.
Yeah, it's again, like I said, they need to keep the mentality at 0-0, but it's clearly easier said than done. I'm not out there on the ice. As frustrated as I am being up here in the booth with you, I just can't even imagine what the players are thinking.
That's right, because we're not the ones on the ice giving up the goals.
Yep.
And it's a whole different story when you are on the ice. Is that puck bouncing around down there in front of the goal, but the Tigers unable to get a clear shot on it and unable to put it in the net. They do have possession still now, trying to move it forward out of their own end, but Georgia Tech once again playing this very stifling defense and not giving Clemson any room to breathe. And it's interesting. I think it's a testament to how good of a defense that Georgia Tech has and plays when you have a rink that has this much open space on it, and the Tigers still can't find room to breathe.
Yeah, and that's what one of the points we were trying to say before the game is that they needed to create more opportunities and create more space, and that this rink naturally gives them that. But it seems like Georgia Tech is more natural on a bigger rink, because last game was on the Pavilion's rink, which is smaller, and we went into overtime compared to this rink. Again, that's not the only factor. This Georgia Tech team is really good. I think we need to keep pointing that out.
Yes.
But that is definitely one of the factors, is that this rink is huge, and we're down some defensemen. And
McKeon with the shot there, unable to get it in across the goalie's chest there. So McKeon trying to get his own numbers in, and he's going to get knocked to the ice. That appears like it's going to be a tripping probably.
Number 10, Brandon Holt. He's from Sweden.
Brandon Holt. Ljungby?
Never mind.
It's
on 11.
Oh. You made me butcher Swedish.
Listen.
You made me give a horrendous butchered attempt at a Swedish place just to tell me that I didn't need to.
We need to point it out, though. He's from Sweden. That's
all
pretty
right.
cool.
Whatever. Number 11, Ben Lublin on the trip. He does have a goal and 1 assist on the night. There's a lot of names in the stat sheet for the Georgia Tech Yellow Jackets tonight.
Yeah, a lot of different people have scored other than Connolly seems to be their lone double scorer. Other than Markward, who scored back-to-back. Yep.
So Markwart could be looking at we could be looking at 2 hat tricks tonight if Markwart could find himself another goal. But the Tigers currently with the puck, looking for another goal themselves. They've brought it out from behind their own net. It's sent for the Vanderleest. It'll bounce over to Owen Turner, and we've got an offsides. So the Tigers, a couple unlucky bounces there, unable to reset, and we'll reset completely, as both teams will get some fresh legs on the ice, and we will have a face-off here. 3 minutes, 22 seconds left in this game. 1:20 of power play left for the Tigers to try to take advantage of, as they are still down 20 shots, 44-24 in the shots, but it's the score that matters the most, and they're down by 10 there as well, 11-1. So the Tigers take this puck out from back behind their own net, trying to go coast to coast yet again. It's Carroll now with the puck, and that is Eriksson knocking it away from him and stealing it. She will clear it out into the neutral zone, and it's number 13 looking for another goal himself. Trying to pass over, 24, but the Tigers will play good defense there and intercept it. That's number 7, Michael Dutt, bringing it forward. The pass back, trying to connect with number 19,
it's
Alex
like
Schreiber.
Some miscommunication.
But, unable to connect, and it's going to get locked. It's going to be loose, as we've got just over 30 seconds left, just over half a minute left in this power play, just over 2.5 of game time itself. Georgia Tech, though, bringing it forward, looking for another shorthanded goal, potentially. They do have a couple of those already here tonight. That is going to be a good save, though, by Di Giovanni. They tried to slot it in the bottom there, and Lucas having nothing of it. Clemson now bringing it forward, trying to go across the crease, and scooped up and caught by Rudnicki. So we'll reset. A little bit of a conversation between him and the official. I think the official didn't blow it dead immediately, and Rudnicki trying to say, "Hey man, I've got the puck."
Yeah, you could hear them from here. They were saying, play it. They were screaming it. So looks like a break for the Tigers. They can get a line change and hopefully win this faceoff.
Yeah, 7 seconds trying to maybe do something, but it is Yellow Jackets who will win that faceoff, and these final seconds are going to tick off. So the Tigers get a power play opportunity, and they are unable to take advantage of it. And now Georgia Tech on the even strength, bringing it forward, but number 5, Frankie Stapleton, sending him into the boards. A huge hit there, but Georgia Tech still with possession here, trying to shoot it in, but DiGiovanni is going to make the save as he'll scoop it up.
Frankie he's Isaiah's roommate, so I'm assuming they share some interest in establishing physical dominance. So
that seems to be a common thread amongst the whole team.
Yeah.
Yes, this team loves to play physical. They love to hit. They love to hit hard. They love to send people into the boards, onto the ground. They just they're the kind of people like me when you're playing the NHL video game where you're out there just headhunting and just trying to knock people over because, hey, they can't score if they're on the ground.
Well, he got a delayed penalty on Georgia Tech for tripping, so.
Yes, and here's Luka rushing off the ice, but
it looks like
Georgia Tech
Clemson's going to end this game on a power play. Let's hope they can put one in the back of the net and kind of end a horrible night on a good note.
Yeah, you always want to end on a good note. When a team's having a bad season, one thing that they always say is win your last game. And if you think of this game as kind of a microcosm of that, when you're having a crappy game like this, you want to end on a good note and maybe get that last
Just
score.
win the small battle.
Yeah, it's the small victories that you could take the most from. So get that last score is probably the mentality that you called it. It was the tripping, number 14, Andrew Bonner, in the box here to end the game. So that long shot knocked away by Rudnicki. So the Tigers' immediate attack here, trying to take the advantage of this, and probably like you mentioned, wanting to end on that good note, get some momentum going into the next game. Another long shot there, another save by Rudnicki. So I want to give some huge praise here. We've got a minute 10 seconds left in a stoppage to Rudnicki in the game he's played tonight. I think we've talked about Georgia Tech's defense and everything as a whole, but we talked about Rudnicki. I want to give him a little more praise here at the end. He's played an incredible game, aside from the one goal, which, to be fair, to him, that was a 5-on-3. It was a 5-on-3 power play that he gave up that goal on. So kind of in a similar situation, what we saw a lot with Jake Badger. His back was against the wall and in a tough situation himself. But Rudnicki, other than that, has played an outstanding game tonight.
We definitely got to give him some credit. He's been a brick wall, like you said, other than the 5-on-3. So props to him. We got a tripping on Clemson.
A delayed trip.
Yep.
Might not matter, though. Luka will make that save.
Yep.
And Clemson
Looks
touches
like we're
it.
going 4-on-4 for the last 33 seconds.
4-on-4 for the last 32.9 seconds of this game. The speed playing a factor there as Clemson Clemson player lost his footing.
And again, it looks like that Georgia Tech is more comfortable in this big rink.
Yeah.
They're using their speed and knowing where to put the puck. So. And
that was John McKeon on the trip. So he lost his footing, just trying to make something, falls down, and in a last-ditch effort, throws the stick out there and trips up Georgia Tech player. So unfortunate for him that after having the brightest night for the Tigers, he's going to end in the box. But we end on a 4-on-4 even strength sort of. 24.3 seconds left in this game. We've got the face-off here, and Georgia Tech will have won that face-off. And now they are trying to move the puck forward, but Clemson's still trying to make something here, trying to take it in this game on their own terms, if you will, in this game positively. The physicality and frustration coming up there. 9.7 seconds left here in this game. So We've neared the end. We've got about one more face-off, and likely whoever wins it will probably just run out those final seconds and just let this game finally reach its conclusion. We're looking at an 11-1 final score, and Clemson will win the face-off. That's Baltus with the puck, and he's just going to skate it back around behind Luka there. Final seconds tick, and that is going to be your game. So, a calamitous night for the Tigers finally comes to an end. A landslide victory for the Georgia Tech Yellow Jackets here at Bon Secours Arena in Greenville, South Carolina. A very special game here. Special site, special opportunity for the Tigers to play in a big arena like this. But we saw it. We saw the difference in location play a huge factor tonight. We've talked about it a lot. Bigger ice, regulation size ice, and that open space, like to your point, Georgia Tech seemed to be a lot more comfortable with it. We don't know the status of their home rink, so they may play on a rink that's this size or a lot nearer to this size, but much larger than the Tigers' home of the Pavilion in Taylor, South Carolina, the coolest place in town. I got to shout them out. We will be there for their next game, but this game, a special opportunity for the Tigers to play here at the home of the Greenville Swamp Rabbits after a Swamp Rabbits game, an ECHL game. So Georgia Tech does their part to even this Battle of 85 doubleheader that we saw tonight. Game 1, and the ECHL went to the Swamp Rabbits 6-5 over the Atlanta Gladiators. But Georgia Tech does their part to end with a positive note for the city of Atlanta in terms of hockey with an 11-1 victory over the Tigers here tonight, and a brutal, calamitous game for the Tigers.
Calamitous. You keep using that word, Mr. Stephen A. Big words over here.
Hey, it's fitting.
Yeah. Again, I'm just speechless at this point. The story isn't the ice or the defenseman down for Clemson or Badgerling being left on an island as much as how good this Georgia Tech team is.
Yeah.
We definitely need to shout them out. It's tough to come here rooting for Clemson. You know, we're wearing their colors for the first time with our polos here. But this Georgia Tech team is really, really good. That's something we definitely just need to keep on saying. I don't know if they're 11-1 good over us, but that's the story.
Yeah,
so.
I don't think either game these teams have played is necessarily particularly 100% indicative of how good each team is in relative to one another. Obviously, I think the talent disparity is a lot closer than 11-1.
Yep.
We saw it in that first game. The Tigers are a team that's able to take Georgia Tech to the brink, and I think that says a lot about the ability that this Tiger team has, that they are able to do that against a team that's clearly as good as they are. But obviously, this Tiger team, or this Georgia Tech team rather, is one of the better teams. I don't know if we can say in the nation. We don't know the state of how things are elsewhere, especially like West Coast and everything.
Yeah.
But at least what we've seen so far, I would say this Georgia Tech team is the best team that we have had the privilege to see all season.
Yep.
We've seen them now twice. They played a great game that first time around, an even better game here tonight. And to your point, I would agree that the real thing to take away from tonight's game is how great of a team Georgia Tech is. So we must give them all of the praise that they deserve.
Yes, they definitely do deserve the praise. But on to the next. I mean,
yes, it's
sports is a brutal thing to watch. It's
a fickle mistress, if you will,
full of plenty of heartbreak.
Yeah.
But next weekend we play South Carolina in South Carolina in their home rink. So that's a big game. That's a rivalry game, especially one we want back. Because we had a 2-goal lead in that game as well. That was the first game of the season we called. So that's a good team. We got to forget about this one and move on.
Yeah, and I think for the Tigers moving forward, it's going to be a lot about silver linings and this kind of glass half full mentality, kind of like you said that I was having. And it's about focusing on those positive. That's kind of the mentality that I always had in sports is you focus on those positives. Don't dwell on the negatives. Focus on the positives. Bright spots for Clemson tonight. John McKeon, the brightest spot for the Tigers tonight.
Yep.
Scored the lone goal for the Tigers. Really was playing his heart out. His name was called probably the second most behind Jake Badger. And then after that, Jacob Vanderleest, the assist on the McKeon goal. Another name that was called a lot. He's really going out there tonight and just really doing his part as well. Both of them doing everything they could on offense when Georgia Tech was really giving this team no room to breathe offensively and snuffing out any offensive opportunity that the Tigers had tonight. So I think that you take solace in those bright spots tonight, the positive things you saw, great play from Jake Badger, even though he did give up, was it 10 goals? He still played probably about as well as he could have given the circumstances. And you still look at everything that happened and try to focus on those positives.
Yeah. Again, the storyline is how good Georgia Tech played, but on to the next, like I keep saying. McKeon was definitely the bright spot tonight. I'm going to go ahead and say that we're not having a post-game interview after this one.
No.
It's probably pretty positive on that one. But I'd like to have McKeon on the show, the hockey show on Monday, and just see what his thoughts were.
Hopefully a schedule lines up this time.
Yeah, and just see what the locker room was feeling and how they're going to turn around. That's the story I want to hear.
Yeah,
how they're going to turn around.
Some interesting insight to see the state, the mindset, rather, of this team after the past couple of weeks, now being 1-7 on the season, after a game like this.
Yeah, and going on to face South Carolina this weekend or next weekend.
Yeah, so that'll be interesting to kind of hear his take on that and to see what he has to say. I'd love to be a fly on the wall in that locker room right now to hear, kind of like I said after period 2, not just what Coach Loughran's saying, but also more importantly, rather what the captain and president, Isaiah Jackson, and the rest of the seniors have to say after a game like this as well, because the team leaders really set the tone moving forward. And if I know anything about Isaiah, it's like you said, he hates losing more than he loves winning.
Yep.
And this is the kind of game that's really going to sting him deep inside. And I think he's going to set a tone for this team moving forward that this cannot happen again.
Yeah, this cannot, and hopefully it will not happen again.
Right.
This was a must-win, I feel like, but can't beat a dead horse, so the next several are must-wins. We need to get back in the win column.
Yeah.
And, there's nothing I would love more than to get back in the win column against South Carolina. So.
And I think everybody in that locker room wearing the orange and purple for the Tigers would agree with you and echo those sentiments. So we will keep you updated on that. Tune into the hockey show next week as we will recap this game and much more. Try to get McKeon or Isaiah Jackson or someone else from the team on the show, hopefully, to kind of get that insight and see what the mindset in this locker room is and what their mentality is moving forward after something like this. And as we look forward to next weekend, they will, like you mentioned, take on the South Carolina Gamecocks, looking for revenge after that first game of the season, after blowing the 2-goal lead and just looking to draw even in the battle for the Palmetto State. Losing this battle of 85 stings, but more importantly is the battle for the Palmetto State. At the very least, you want that bright spot this season in a tough season like this of winning against your biggest rival and claiming that victory. So they came into Clemson's turf last time, get the victory, so now Clemson's looking to do the same to them, go into Columbia or where they play in Irmo, I believe, and get the victory over them there. So we will keep you updated on that the next week afterward, and then after that we're home again?
Yeah, so after that, after next weekend, the following weekend, then I believe the 9th and the 10th, or the 8th and the 9th, we play Coastal Carolina back-to-back nights, which I have some experience. I know a couple of guys on the Coastal team. That's a very good team as well. So tough road ahead for Clemson, but we got to get back in the win column somehow. Quick note before we wrap up, I want to thank all the viewers watching tonight, the live stream, our first live stream of the season. Thank you guys for the support and the comments and sticking with us. So.
Of course, yes. Thank you for tuning in. If you tuned in even for just a couple seconds, thank you for tuning in and partaking in this. Hopefully we get a post of this up later on Facebook and such so you can rewatch it elsewhere as well. But thanks to all of our crew here tonight working tirelessly behind the scenes. Thanks to Christian, who was down in the penalty box, sending us up some notes and stats and such throughout the game. Thanks to my great co-host, Matt Tiart here.
Thanks
I'm Wyatt Street. We
check out the hockey show on Monday.
Yeah, hope you had fun. Tune into the hockey show next week. And until next time, go Tigers.
Go Tigers.